Punters, quick one. Elections coming up. There's going to be a lot of lies being flung, mud slung. Let's take a look at some of the lies that corporations and vested interests want you to believe about our own damn democracy. Let's watch. Oi punters, quick sponsored ad by me. I'm doing some live shows. If you're a Melbourne punter during the Melbourne Comedy Festival, you can check that out 10th, 11th, 12th and 13th of April. You can buy your tickets, link in the description below. If you're a Sydney punter, I'm doing a pub quiz in Sydney. So if you like pubs, quizzes and politics, that sounds like something right up your alley. Anyway, I think I was in the middle of a rant or something. Anyway, back to it. All right, so here is Sky News. Now, it's not just Sky News spreading this deliberate misinformation about our own electoral system and how it works, but Sky News are just so obvious with how they do it. It makes it a good example as to what to watch out for when other established corporate media is telling you and inferring the same sorts of things. So let's watch this and we'll break it down as we go.
Let's turn to today's news poll in The Australian, and it will be sending alarm bells right through the Albanese government. Labor's...
Okay, first off, polling, waste of time. Ignore all polling. It is fun to watch, but you never know the questions asked, the sample size used, the electorates used. What polling is mostly used for these days, I think, and fact checks, welcome, citations necessary, is manufacturing consent for a preferred political party. So let's see what they're trying to make us comfortable with the idea of with polling.
Vote has fallen 2 points since December, while in the two-party preferred survey, they're now trailing the opposition.
So primary vote is the number one put on people's piece of ballot paper. The problem is that even if you put number one on someone else, your vote still might flow to your number 2 or 3 preference. So knowing who gets the most number one votes, all this is saying is that the coalition has a more rusted on base than the Labor voters, because Labor voters might be putting other people above Labor, but their vote will ultimately flow to Labor, meaning that Labor would still win. So what are they trying to tell us with this polling here?
While in the two-party preferred survey, they're now trailing the opposition. And it's not much better for Anthony Albanese personally. The Prime Minister's approval ratings have slumped to their lowest levels since he became PM.
So what they're trying to do is, on this channel here, they're trying to make you think with polling. They're trying to say, hey, here's some polling. Here's what everybody else thinks. That's not exactly what everybody else thinks. It's a subsection of a certain group of people asked a certain question, but they're trying to make you punters think that everyone else is actually kind of preferring Peter Dutton. As I look at this, I'm no pollster, so I'm just looking at this. If Albanese is at 6% and Peter Dutton is at 1%, 6 is a larger number than 1. So it looks like Anthony Albanese is still ahead. However, these red arrows are making me think that Peter Dutton is ahead because he went up. And so that's the reporting of it. They're trying to manufacture your consent around essentially saying, well, everyone else seems to like Peter Dutton. I mean, have you considered Peter Dutton? Because everyone else, wow, he's so popular right now. And it starts to make us get used to the idea of different leaders. And obviously, Murdoch, Minion, Sky News, they really are barracking for their team player here, but they dress it up as objective news. Let's continue.
Joining me now is the Australian's chief political correspondent, Jeff Chambers. Jeff, great to see you again. Look, how do you interpret these news poll results when it comes to Albanese's chances of winning the next election?
Hi, Shari. So to just put it in context, at the 22 election, Anthony Albanese claimed a small majority government on a primary vote of 32.6%.
That's correct. And he's using primary vote again, saying people who listed Labor as number one, but Labor obviously won because a lot of people listed Labor above Liberal, meaning their vote went to Labor. That's why Labor won the election. It's how our system works.
That primary vote, so they're now at 31%, at 32.6, which was actually worse than Bill Shorten's losing election results. That was the worst result in Labor history since 1934. So if it's Labor's worst result, geez, the Libs must be doing pretty bad to lose to Labor when Labor get their worst result ever. But don't talk about that. What we're seeing in this preferential system is a system that benefits Labor, but all the hardheads in Labor have been perpetually concerned about that very low primary vote.
Yes, we have a preferential voting system. It is the best voting system in the world. Fact checks, welcome, citations necessary. But I don't think you'll budge me on this one. We are one of very few countries that get to say, I would like, ideally, and I know they don't stand a chance, I would like this small minor party or independent or third party or new entrant to win. They're the ideal. I would love them. And then because no one else is maybe really voting for them, and that number one doesn't stand a shot, they come back to me and go, well, listen, your preferred candidate didn't get off the ground. If it was between the two major parties that you don't really like, which one would you prefer? And then people get to choose again. Whereas in the United States, it's like, I know you'd prefer this, but everyone's going to vote for the one of the major two. So you have no choice to vote for the one of the major two. And if you do put your vote with a minor party, you might as well throw it in the bin. It's wasted. In our preferential voting system, no vote is wasted. We get to vote in line with our ideals, and then we get to vote pragmatically on who of the two evils we would prefer or think would do slightly better than the other. And for this bloke to have the balls to say he's making something partisan that isn't partisan, it's objectively better than any other system that I can think of right now. Are there any other systems that you think are better? Comments below. I would be genuinely curious. But for him to have the nerve to say, quote,
what we're seeing in this preferential system is a system that benefits Labor.
Is a system that benefits Labor. Oh my gosh. They're essentially trying to make viewers think, oh, maybe we need to rethink our preferential system, move away from an objectively good voting system because our preferred team doesn't win, because our preferred team can't get enough votes. This isn't a system that benefits Labor. This isn't a system that benefits anyone except you and me, the Aussie punter. The way they're trying to spin this to, in subtle ways, cast doubt upon our electoral system because Labor are winning right now, it's low. It's super bloody low, and I don't have time for it. Except I do. Let's keep watching.
What we're seeing in these preferential systems is that a coalition is going to need a primary vote of 42% North to be in a position to win outright.
Okay, second big lie you're going to keep hearing, not just from these blokes, but from everyone else. They heavily relied on Greens' preferences. That gives the impression that it's the Greens who then take all your votes and then look and say, oh, look at all these votes we collected. Who shall we give them to now? This is a deliberate misrepresentation, again, of how it works. Because obviously the Greens brand is cooked. No one likes the Greens, bloody greenies, self-righteous lefties, waggling fingers about paper, plastic straws and turtles and whatnot. He's deliberately painting the picture as if Greens control your preferences if you put Greens number one, or if you vote for an independent or a teal number one. He's giving the impression that those candidates then distribute your vote. And you know how I know this is the impression that people get? Because I was getting my hair done yesterday. Just getting a haircut, trimming in this outrageous thing at the back here. I got layers in it. Thanks for noticing. And the hairdresser was talking about politics, and she mimicked this talking point, saying, well, I just don't know. Like, I want to vote for like an independent or a third party or some crazy alternative, but then they'll just give my preferences to somebody else. That's the impression that they're deliberately putting out there, that once you vote, someone else decides your preferences. That is a lie. Nobody decides your preferences except for you. What you write on your ballot paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever it goes to, I don't know. That is the order in which your vote will flow. So he's making it seem like, oh, Labor only won because of the Greens. No, completely incorrect. Labor won because more Aussie punters preferred Labor over Liberal. That's it. End of story. It doesn't matter. Whoever they put above Labor, that's them sending a message to Labor saying, listen, we don't really like you and your primary vote is falling because you're letting us down. But if we have to choose between the two of you, Labor's still going to win. So, punters, you're going to hear this for the next month until the election. And so do whatever you can to help explain to other punters that are being misled about how a preferential voting system works. If we want to get technical, when they talk about preference deals and swapping preferences, all that is what the political parties write onto their leaflet that they hand out at the election. Because on their leaflet, they'll say, hey, vote for us number one. And then we suggest you follow these numbers. That's all it is. When you get that piece of paper, You might want to copy what your party says, the order in which they put it. And if you want to copy someone else's preferences, you, by all means, can go and do that. Only you decide where your vote flows. So establishment powers and corporate media are wanting we Aussie punters to think that we are powerless but to vote for the two major party establishments. And it's crumbling down around them. As he keeps talking about, the Liberal and Labor primary vote, the number one, has been dropping for decades. 1/3 of Aussies now put someone else above the two major parties. So the stranglehold on power that Labor and Liberal have shared for a very long time, swapping power back and forth, our preferential voting system allows us, when that system is not working for us, it allows us to look at it and say, no bloody thank you, I'm going to vote for somebody else. And if you don't change your policies to get my vote, then my vote will go to somebody else. Anyway, punters, that's a rant for you on the misinformation that's going to be spread in the lead up to the election. It's deliberate, it's calculated, and it is all to maintain the power within the two major power structures. Because corporations, Rupert Murdoch, all these established foreign-owned cartels that have been spending decades lobbying our politicians. They've got really good connections. They're all their politician friends that they can talk to and make rules for. And they would hate to have to start again if another political party got in or another independent got in. They would have to start their lobbying work all over again. It's much easier for them to keep the power within the two major parties in which they've invested a lot of money in Labor and Liberal. As we can see here, Labor, $42 million, sources unknown. Liberal, $32 million, sources unknown. Even Greens, almost $10 million, sources unknown. I thought they disclosed their donations. We'll have to look at that later. But all this dark money is just money to control our politicians. And they do not want you Aussie punters to realise that you don't have to vote for the two majors up the ballot on number one or number two if you think they've let you down. So anyway, punters, hope that was helpful. Massive thanks to We the Punters over on Patreon. These are the punters that keep me making the videos that I think are important, like this one, and not just the ones that get the clicks. Feel free to share this video with someone who might not know just how scammed we're getting. Give the video a like, the channel a sub, and I'll catch you punts in the next episode.